Didn't check.
What do you need?
So I'm just checking, reduce the audio background noise. Cool. No, that didn't work. Okay, we shared. Yeah. Afternoon. Cool. Okay, there we go. Okay, try that again. Afternoon. Hi, Martin. Hi, Kathy, Sue, and Linda. Hope you're doing well. Come and say hello if you're watching, and I'll get started in a second. Hold on, Sue. Hi, Barbara. Afternoon, Karen. Okay. So today I wanted to show you suet pastry, as in real suet pastry, because we were at the keto show last weekend, Keto and Low Carb Food Festival, and hi Jack. This is Mystery Weekend. We don't know. Yeah, it's in the event. It's I published it. It might have been even yesterday. So whilst I was at the event on Sunday, there's a company there that sell grass-fed meat, quite limited availability because it is a small-scale farm, based in Cornwall, and they travelled up from Birmingham, or to Birmingham from Cornwall to sort of come and do the event. And I spotted on hi Tony. I spotted on their counter, so I wandered over to say hello and just have a chat, and I spotted this, which is, as they class it, as beef fat trimmings. But the difference here is it's the organ fat, so it's solid and it's crumbly. So this is the perfect ingredient for making real suet pastry. So we had a little crack during the week and we did some steamed puddings. I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to do a steak and kidney pudding from scratch. Well, puddings from scratch. Along with a recipe that Sandra sent to us as well, which is this different type of steamed suet pudding. It's a bacon and leek steamed suet pudding. And I'm also going to turn some of this into, well, it's all going to get turned into pastry, but to bake it as a pie. I don't know how it bakes yet. So this will be a first attempt. So I'll be making a steak and kidney pie. And then to finish off, I'm going to be making, hi Angela, finish off, I'm going to be making the Panda pumpkin custard cake, which was a little bit of a, hey Katie, a little bit of a surprise when I first made it, because I didn't think it worked. And then when we let it cool down and went back to it, it was perfect. I haven't made it since. So I was just filling in the recipe sheet because the adaptations I made. Anyway, I'll do the pastry first because it's a little different to the pastry recipes we've previously made. It just takes more water. Well, it did on Thursday, so again, this is only the second time I've made it, so we'll see how it works. However, essentially, same process. Blitz the flour and the fat together to create breadcrumb. Now, you can do this if you can get hold of this. This is the issue with it, is it's very difficult to get hold of. But you can actually sort of make your own suet flour and just keep it in the fridge. So you can blitz it down, exactly what I'm going to do here, and then just keep it in the fridge. And it will last literally for months and months. It's pure fat. And as long as you keep it dry, it'll last for months. So obviously so just imagine the Atora stuff. That's beef suet mixed with a lot of wheat flour and then left in a box and sitting on a shelf. It'll have some preservatives in it. And obviously you can use that, but you could have to sort of like get rid of all of the wheat flour. So you're basically paying for a box, which you're going to throw half of it away. However, I don't think there'd be anything better than this. This is completely fresh and not expensive. I mean, this £5 a kilo for beef fat. Hi, Carol. If you think about any of the supermarket fats, butter is over £6 a kilo. Lard is probably something like £4 a kilo now. Olive oil, £7 a litre, £8 a litre. Coconut oil in a supermarket is a good £5-6 a kilo. So it's not an expensive fat if you can get hold of it. It's not an expensive fat to use. Scales. We went with the same ratios of if you're following the rough puff pastry, which was 100 grams of fat to every 50 grams of flour. I'm going to make a double batch, just so I've got. I suppose I need to hang on. Make this one. No, I'll make two separate ones, because the other version for the bacon and leek pie, it all gets mixed in with the ingredients. So this portion here will do probably a couple of. I'm going to do these foils. They're slightly bigger than what you'd remember in supermarkets, so they're probably maybe half as big again, maybe something like that. They tend to sell them on weight, so I reckon that's a £1 tin. We'll find out. I reckon this pastry will make 2 of those. So it has still got some evidence of meat on the fat. So you can see that. So you can see where it's been trimmed from, whichever organ it's come from. Unusual, we're going to add 50 grams of Panda to it. We're going to add some seasoning, and then we're going to mix it with cold water. Got a hole in the side. I'll do. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Obviously, I'm doing this first because it will be better to relax for a little while, and I can get the meat sorted out. I'll run through the meat once I've done that. This should resemble our sort of fine breadcrumbs. And again, I can feel that there are small pieces of fat in there still, but mostly it's been properly shredded. Yeah. It feels like it disappears more into the flour than most of the other fats because they're softer. This is obviously quite a hard, dry fat, which is the reason why I think it needs more water. So we went with the normal version of water. So we're not adding egg to this as we would with a sweet rough puff. Doesn't want a 0. Okay. So we added in the usual, which would be at this point 75 grams of cold water. I'll show you what it looks like. Normally, this would come together fairly easy dough. Now, I'm doing it the same as I did it on Thursday to make sure that I didn't make any mistakes on Thursday. So you can sort of see from here, it's turned it into a bigger breadcrumb, but there is no way that's holding as a pastry. I've really got to squeeze it together, and any pressure and it just crumbles. So that was the normal 75. Normally that would have come together as a pastry pretty instantly. So I went with another 75 on Thursday, but I'm actually thinking I'm going to go a little bit higher because I wasn't sure whether it would work. So I didn't want to add too much water because I just didn't know if the pastry was gonna hold. So it's coming together easier. But even now, it's not trying to hold together. It's trying to break up. So I really had to sort of compress it when I did it last. So I'm going to go with another 25 grams of water. Right. So in total, I've added 175. And suddenly, I can now feel the water in the pastry. So I'm just going to work this in for a minute, and then we're going to let it sit, relax, and I'll prep the meat. Now we went to Aldi or Lidl yesterday. That's Lidl, isn't it? Lidl's. Went to Lidl's yesterday. We went to Lidl's and Morrison's actually, but in Lidl's I managed to find, and I've not seen it in there previously, and I wasn't expecting to find it, and there was only one packet left. Diced shin beef. Never seen it in there before. So obviously shin beef is perfect for this recipe. You can sort of see it's got a nice layer of fat in there. It is going to steam for quite a while. I am going to obviously partially cook the meat. Hi, Jane. I'm going to partially cook the meats before they go into the pie. Right, okay. So there you go. That feels a little different to Thursday. Just a little. It's a little bit wetter. However, I'm going to be adding a little bit of flour to that when I roll it out. So I'm okay with that. But so we've now got a dough that weighs 100 grams more than it would normally. Because we've added 175, not 100, not 75. Yeah, so we've got 332 grams of dough there. Just going to let it relax. Doesn't need to go in heat. It just needs to relax. Just needs to absorb the water. Okay. I reckon I've got plenty of time today. I think. We'll see. Right. So, steak and kidney. Nice shin beef. I'm going to cook all of this meat off. If it doesn't go in the well, it probably will go all in the pie and the pudding. Actually, thinking about it, it'll probably go in all in the three. If not, it'll be a little side snack for something else.
Like with your steak.
You are, yeah, the other side of the steak. So, what is it? It's a 600-gram pack of shin beef. I think, if I remember rightly, it's about £11, £10 a kilo, just over £10 a kilo. Which for fresh beef is not bad. Could you make something else if you have? I don't know yet. It's not bad price-wise for fresh meat, certainly supermarket. I think one thing that surprised me when I was talking to the Treyway, they're called Treyway, yeah, Treyway Farm, the guys from last weekend. The steaks that I bought from them were their frying steaks. They're only £13 a kilo, which I know is still expensive, but when you compare it to steaks in the supermarket, this is grass-fed beef. So it is absolutely no more expensive. But I'm not sponsored by, paid for. They don't even know I'm talking about them. Go and have a look at them. I'll stick a link in later on for a Treyway Farm. They do meat boxes. They do various sort of, lots of different cuts. Really worth it. Really, really worth it. We've ordered a little bundle, and it's cost us no more for the steaks than it would by buying them from Aldi or Lidl's per kilo. Yeah, I'll add a little bit back to the pan, just a little bit. What have I got? What have I got fresh? No. Yeah. I've got a little bit of strained fat that I used earlier. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. There you go. There's Treyway Farm details. Obviously, don't need to dice the beef. Just going to lightly fry that. Obviously, it's going to be nowhere near cooked by the time it goes into the pies and the puddings. For the reason why I went to Morrison's was because for the offal, you don't find, wrong way around, you don't find that most of the supermarkets sell much in the way of offal. So you might get a little bit of liver. You might get sort of lamb's liver from Sainsbury's and from Tesco's. Not many of them seem to sell kidney. Morrison's tend to sell a much wider range. So they sell, this is lamb's kidney. They didn't have any pig kidney yesterday, but they do have other things like pig's heart, liver, which currently the dogs are loving. That's their, sorry? Yeah, I've not seen that for a few weeks. Morrison's probably the best one, aren't they, for oxtail? Anyway. I'll just let it calm down for a second. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Right, that's better. You may have noticed I've got a big pan on the back. is going to be for steaming. I brought one of the big pans back from the bakery. Okay, so for the kidney, lamb's kidney, I just need to trim them. Or trim and chop them. I appreciate. Not everyone's a kidney fan, but if you are, then you want to be removing the center white sinew part. It's not nice to eat. So just slice it open. Just expose where that sinew is. And it just almost pulls away. So just a bit gritty. So yeah, traditionally, probably ox liver. Go on, what, oh, Karen? Traditionally, ox liver would probably would have been used. And you can occasionally get that from Morrison's. I'm trying to think where it was. Morrison's, where I got last time.
I haven't seen it anywhere else.
No. The only other place we'd find ox liver is up at Jamie's.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're a little bit slippery, slidey, but they definitely, to me anyway, they definitely make the steak and kidney. Pie and pudding. Waitrose, probably. Yeah. Shiny shoes. Brush your hair. As you out, then it's so you're not getting to Waitrose, you don't brush your hair. I stuck the lid on because I want to retain as many of the juices, as much of the liquid coming out from the beef as possible. So I can thicken it into see, I try I tried to throw an insult, and it's just the reality. It's just life. Yeah, I'm retaining as much of the liquid to thicken it into a gravy. I'm not sure exactly how much was in this. 300 grams. So essentially, I've got 900 grams of meat, about raw meat going in. I remember having this sort of. It's more a pie we used to have, not puddings at my grand's house. My gran would make steak and kidney pie on a regular basis. And when you got a piece of kidney, you knew, it was like, wow, she's picked that out. She's made sure you've had a piece. Usually the dads, the granddad and the dad would get the kidney, but you might just get like a couple of pieces in yours. It's like, wow.
No, she's so normal.
What, you not having the kidney?
I definitely have it.
Okay. Right, that'll do. A little bit there. It's easy to spot. Just make sure it's as clean as you can possibly get it. There we go. Right, that'll do. That's going in. So you can see it's already formed quite a lot of juices in there already. I wanted to keep all of that. And we're going to be adding to that as well. Right. Pizza beef for the dogs. I'm going to add a bit of water into that now. Get rid of this board. Didn't I do that?
You could have done that if you tried. Is this sweetener?
Yes, it
Right,
is. It's
okay.
powdered sweetener.
Okay.
Sweetener. I'll wash that. Right. It's okay. It's okay. Right, what was I doing? I was getting some bit more water for the for that. Right. Turn it down a little bit. Get a bit of water in there. We're going to thicken it a little bit once we're ready to go. Okay. So let's have a look at the pastry. Okay, yeah. Sort of how I would expect a normal pastry to feel. That little tackiness, that sort of like the wet that sits on the outside is gone. Yeah, looks great. Let's see how it rolls. I will need that again, won't I, to make the next one. Oh, that water's coming from. So you can do this in the grease proofs if you're unsure. I'm just going to go straight in on the marble. So when I rolled it out on Thursday, it was a little bit dry still. So this is why I don't mind it having a little bit more moisture in there. So if I'm aiming for 2 of these, then I'm taking just over a half. I'll probably end up having half cup from it because that does feel more than substantial for that. I can't see it. Need a bigger kitchen. Well, funny enough, with what's going to be happening over the next few weeks and months, i.e., we think Coco's going to be dropping a litter of puppies in the next couple of weeks. I might be moving the Sunday session down to the kitchen. Purely because if we're going to have half a dozen puppies yapping away, it isn't necessarily going to be the easiest place to talk. So yeah, I'm just inquiring about trying to get some sort of internet connection fitted down there. Yeah, no, I've already started the inquiry. There's a couple of the other guys down there that have got net, so it's just a bit of a dead zone. Now, one of the things that I did on Thursday, which I'm going to try and avoid now, is make the pastry too thin. The pudding was great. The pudding was fantastic, but the best bits were the thicker bits of pastry. So they were the bits around the lid. They were the just where I patched it up, really. So I don't want to. I mean, again, I need to make sure I've got enough to go round. But actually, this is thicker already, and it does. It's also responding a little bit better than the Thursdays. It was a little bit more temperamental. Okay, a little bit more, just a little bit more. Yeah, so it certainly won't be next week. Maybe sometime in November. It'll be I'll move it down there. Go down there for a couple of hours on a Sunday. It would be easier, certainly for me. Definitely. Right, okay. I think I've sort of got there now. So there's way too much for, you can see, for that. The excess is going to go on there. So yeah, I will be able to get the lid as well. I'm just trying to work out whether I can cut it or whether I should just feed it and trim it down. So again, with this pastry, it doesn't matter whether it, I mean, it hasn't torn all the way down, actually. Like I say, it doesn't matter if it does tear on the sides. This hasn't. It's sort of fully, there's too much of it in certain sections, so I can remove some of it where we get folds. So like this section here can come out. But actually, that's going to sat in there quite nicely. We just take this top part off and then I can sort it out. I'm just going to get the pastry up to the top of the rim here. Oh, not right to the top. There's a little lip that I'm aiming at. Okay, that's bubbling away quite nicely. Okay, so it's coated it quite comfortably. Okay. I suppose it's more water, isn't it? It's only 25 grams of Panda per pudding. So it's just, I mean, they are going to be big. They're a big one portion. As you just walk straight past that piece of beef. Oh. Okay. We still call her Little Un, but it's more like Little Barrel now than.
Yeah.
She's a proper barrel. Okay. Oh, hello, Mrs. Parrot. And how is LA? Did you get like red carpet treatment at the airport as we requested? Is this you now starting your acting career? Have you given up teaching now? Okay, plenty. Tempted to take a little bit off that to make it a little bit easier to handle. I'm going to try cutting it and see how I can get shape. Oh, tell you what. Yeah. Wow. All right. So let's see if this works. So there's enough there to do at least one lid. That's actually quite thick there still. Especially as we get the bit fold over as well. Seriously. Okay. That's easier to handle. That's definitely easier. Okay. Yeah. Having a little less pastry has made this process a little bit easier to deal with. Just get rid of that chunk. Press that in. You've got the same there. What's that? Your notifications. Tell them the Panda productions have started. Right, I got a tiny little tear, but that's fine. Actually, one of the videos that I saw about making suet puddings was to pack the bottom a little bit more. So the base of the pudding, if you've got spare pastry, is to actually pack. Especially if you want to tip it out, if you want to sort of, rather than eating it from a pie case or pudding case, if you want to tip it up to do a bit of a ta-da, here's what we've made, is to just thicken the top. Apparently it helps it stand better. Right, okay. Well, that one was fairly straightforward as well. Got it quite nicely. So I think there's enough here to get two lids from. Just about. You will find with suet, because it's not 100% liquid fat, so it's obviously that hard fat with us. There you go. She's found the beef. There you go. Go on then. You can have it. That's it. That's it. Oh. Diane, makes it put a V out of the pastry. Thank you, Diane. I'll give that a go. I've never done this thing before until a couple of days ago. Right, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So when you're curling it, you've just got two pieces that overlap. Okay. That'll be something I will practice. Thank you. I'm sure, had I been paying attention when my gran did these with me, I'd have remembered that tip. Yeah, saying only because I could see it. The difference with this fresh suet is that it does have. It's almost like a bit of sinew in there. So I found a bit on the edge of here, and I can't find it now. So it's almost like it's a string within the fat. It is just fat. It's just different to using the lard or butter. Just gonna round this off a little bit. Over that side. Okay. There's no more. Yeah, there's no more. She's got more vocal. And finding out she's feeding. We don't know how many more.
Green, 4 and 5.
Yeah. Apparently, first litters are fairly small generally, and she is a fairly small boxer. When you compare her to him, but then he's a monster of a boxer. All right, that's those two done. So I'll be able to seal those once we get them ready to fill. So let's have a look at the beef mix. Right, Eunice, other way, other way. No, go. Well done. She just likes to be near people at the moment. Lots of cuddles, lots of back rubs. There is something very distinctive about steak and kidney smell, isn't it? And quite clearly, it's the kidney smell. You know it's there. Don't even have to see it. You know it's there. Okay. So I bought some fresh thyme for the occasion. Well, that's not very well grown. There we go. Let's get some. You missed it, mate. She's had it.
And we can close the door now.
Yeah, we can close the door now. See, boxers don't feel the cold, so they're in and out regardless of temperature. Although that's why he stood there. He can smell the kidney. He loves it. Right, put her on. We know. Yeah, he can smell the kidney. Salt, pepper. There you go. They get very excited when they can smell the pig's heart and the liver I cook for them. Okay. Right, I'm going to give that a bit more water, and we're going to thicken it with a bit of Panda. I'm going to let that cool for a bit before I put it in the pies or puddings. Just want enough water just to sort of cover maybe about halfway up the meat. Just enough thickener or Panda to thicken the whole thing. There's going to be enough flavour in there with the beef. There's still a lot of cooking to take place. A little bit more, a little bit water still. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's nicely coated now. So that was probably no more than 5 grams of Panda that went in there just to thicken the stock around. Right. Anyway, I'm gonna let that cool for a few minutes, and then we'll fill the puddings. So I might as well make while I wait for that to cool, I'll make the bacon and leek versions. So we just do a quick tidy down. My plan is to get these into the steamer in the next 15-20 minutes, so they come out before we end. We steamed a larger version on Thursday for 45 minutes. So essentially it was one bigger pudding. What's that gone off? Keep it on there. I intend to steam these for 45 minutes to an hour, and then they should be perfectly done. Right. So same amount of pastry from last time. So this is a fully combined steamed pudding. So rather than it being a hollow case filling, this is a fully combined steamed pudding. Looking for the blitzer. Exactly the same. 50 grams of flour, 100 grams of fat. I suppose the only difference here is that we're not having to roll it out. This is going to be basically sort of pushed together. So it probably won't need as much water. Oh, I know what I need to do first. I need to fry the bacon and leeks off, because they add moisture to the pastry. So let's do that first. Going to use about 100 grams of leek and a couple of rashers of bacon. 99. I think that's a fail, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, be clean. Yeah. Far enough down. So this is going to be a bacon leek with a little bit of sage. Now, I made a small version of this a couple of days ago. Tasted amazing. Had no idea on quantities or anything like that. We both said this morning it works brilliantly as a side, so almost like a stuffing. Now, the recipes that we've seen, it looks like that people would eat it just as the main course, as in at the main part of their meal. But for me, it's something to sit alongside a roast. It's the chicken oil. Just cooling down. A couple of rashers of bacon. Just going to cut these in.
you finished after breakfast, but it was finished.
You what, sorry?
Because you finished after breakfast, but I think it was just.
Yeah, you finished off for breakfast. Yeah. Right, I'm just going to sweat them down. Stick a lid on it. So there is a version that they make this as a roly-poly style pud. Yes, there is a version of that. So we saw that one where they layered it and then rolled it. So this one was a pudding combined steamed as a solid pudding. But yeah, there was a version. And I was tempted to make that one. But we'll save that for another week. Right, I'll do the fat while this is these are cooking down. 100 of this, 50 of that. And then we'll be able to know how much water goes in, because that needs to go into the flour mix before the water. Actually, I'm steaming up. Let's do that the other way. Hang on. Can't see. I'm just thinking for the guys that are coming to day 2 at the end of November, I'll make sure I've got some of this in so people can play with making suet. Right, so that's 100 of that. We'll do 50 flour, and then we can. Salt and pepper. Yeah. Once I found it, Martin, I was like, I've definitely got to be getting this on a regular basis. I'm trying to get hold of it for a couple of years. Fresh stuff. Okay, we can use the same bowl. So see, these are a little bit easier to make because we're not having to form anything. We're not having to try and roll pastry out. This is mix it together. I'm just going to sprinkle this in. I would advise that you wait for this to cool down just a little bit because we're going to have to hand mix this in a second. Okay, so bear in mind, I have no sense nor feeling in my fingers generally, so wait for it to cool. Water. So I'm going to go with 75 water, not the 175, because there's liquid there already. It might look like green things, but it's liquid. And we don't want to overwater these puddings. Like you don't want to overwater your plants, you'll kill it. You don't want to overwater the puddings because they'll end up being too stodgy. The one that we made on Thursday definitely wasn't stodgy inside. It was firm, yeah, but it was it's still stuffing like, wasn't it? I'd say it was.
Yes.
Yeah, but not sort of like it didn't feel like it was undercooked, was it? Ah, okay. Right, so 75 grams. So there's 100 grams less water in this dough than there was the other one. And the difference is this is holding together. Yes, it's because, you know, it's got the other ingredients in there. But that has come together quite rapidly. I'm just going to give that a minute to relax and just see whether it does need any, but I'm pretty sure that will work fine in the pudding tins, because that's holding up, not even trying there actually. It's that's holding up quite nicely. So what's this going to weigh now? 354 grams in total, which is almost the same weight as the other pastry. So this is a flavoured pastry. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't try and roll it out and pack it into a tin and actually have flavoured pastry for the pudding. However, I'll put these puddings in. We'll get them sealed because they're the ones that are going to take the longest to cook. I'll then make the pumpkin cake, so the pumpkin custard cake, magic cake. And then, yeah, probably there's enough time to do a pie version because I've got plenty of meat here. Just want to see how much meat is going to go in this. It's actually soaked up all of the juices. Okay, so we're looking at 200 grams of steak and kidney in there. Cooked weight, so I need to work that back, but that's probably going to be closer to 300 grams of raw meat going in there. Okay, yeah, 200 grams. And I've still got, yeah, so essentially I can weigh that now, can't I, and see what I've got left. I know we started with 900, so I know where. Get the lids on. We're just going to wet the lids just a little bit, just around the edges, just so it sticks to the inside of the case. Just popped in. There it is. So most traditional recipes call for about a 2-hour steam. I say I'm going to go with an hour because the meat is partially cooked. Yes, it's still going to be tough, but it's bordering on that half an hour more of a slow, gentle heat, and it'd be done. Hi, Helen. Yeah. So I'm going to go with an hour steam. These really are going to be sort of like, you know, a whole meal. You might put something on the side of it, but I'm not sure you're going to to one thing.
You got those cloths?
Yeah, what I don't have is enough of them.
I have one as well, so.
Yeah, but I might use the greaseproof to go over them. You know the elastic bands that you threw away a couple of days ago?
He said he didn't need
Yeah, they need them. Oh, yeah.
Could you see the butcher string in there?
The what, sorry?
Butcher string in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about this bit. We had some elastic bands a couple of days ago. I said, no, we don't need those. Just get rid. And suddenly I could do with 4 of them. Okay.
If you have to
Where's the end?
No.
There it is.
So if you have to water your pastry like you water a plant, does that mean you also talk to your pastry like you talk to a plant?
No.
No? No?
Yeah. Okay. That works. So they don't push, they don't expand. They don't go anywhere. Well, they didn't. They didn't. Don't forget that the traditional recipe would have used a self-raising flour. We've got no raising agents in ours. Okay. Yeah. So we've got enough space in that steamer. These are not going to be quite as full, but we'll just divide the batch in half. It was 350, wasn't it? So we'll do 175s. Oh, nice. It does look like a stuffing. Very tasty, I tell you that. Yeah. So these tins are a bit too big for it, but that's fine. I've got some little metal ones somewhere, but which probably would have suited the size better. That's fine. Perfect. So we're just going to get them all in. That was one of the things that we said if I went over to Maker today, we were to bring this back. Oh, no, no good. They're all quite small, but I might get, yeah, I can get that one. That's fine. Okay. Can you just give me a hand with that one? It's trying to, because it's two. Thank you very much. That's it. Thank you. All right. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll look at it in sort of like half an hour or so. Make sure it's not going to try and dry out. Right. Let me just move this lot. Quick tidy up. And we'll do the pumpkin, Panda pumpkin magic custard cake to give it its full title. And it's magic because it doesn't look like custard when it comes out, which sort of like disappointed me when we first made it. But then when we left it to cool overnight and went back to it the following day, it had magically turned back into a custard. But it was more like a custard. It comes out looking like a cake, and it after a day, after an overnight in the fridge, it reverts back to a custard.
Yeah.
So it is magic. In the usual tin. Again, I haven't made this since the one occasion a couple of weeks ago. There's a little bit of tweakery that goes on with the original recipe because it's a fully carb-loaded American recipe. I suppose one of the biggest adaptations we had to make was from the pumpkin. So we didn't have pumpkin puree, so we bought some pumpkin powder. You can get pumpkin puree. We managed to find it at Waitrose. We brushed our hair, we polished our shoes. Yeah, no. So you can get it, say from Waitrose. It's not cheap. I mean, it's like nearly £3 a tin, wasn't it? $2.70, $2.90 a tin. So it's not cheap, and you're not using much of it in this recipe. So I've written the recipe to use powder. Again, it's a difficult product to get hold of, the proper stuff anyway. So this is pumpkin powder. Don't buy pumpkin protein because that's the seed. This is the flesh, which has been dried. There's a few companies out there. It is meant to be bright orange. So if you've got something that's sort of not that colour, then it's not the pumpkin powder, probably the pumpkin seed ground. Anyway, let me go back to the recipe because we need to split eggs. I forgot about it, but we need to split 4 eggs. So it's baked a little bit like a cheesecake, sort of, in the tray, lime tray. If I remember rightly, it is quite a thin batter once it's made. So we'll give it a go. I'm separating the eggs, and I'm going to whip the whites with some cream of tartar till stiff. So whites are going in there, yolks are going in there. That's the right way. Yeah.
They're normal, yeah.
Don't like split next.
Yeah, maybe it's just holding like a big gloopy
Oh, right. Yeah.
thing itself.
Eggs annoy me. When you just get that one bit of just move.
It's what? Gosh. I don't know.
It's like, just get off.
No, I'd say that's what I mean. That's what
Yeah, but it's got to come from all the way around the yolk. Hi, Jane. What we're making? Right. Well, I've made. Excuse me. I've made steak kidney puddings. They are in the steamer. We've made a bacon leek steamed pudding also. So those are both using real suet or real beef fat to make the pastry. So they're both done and are in the steamer. And I'm now currently making the Panda pumpkin magic custard cake. Right now, so egg whites first. Little bit of cream of tartar. I think it's just like half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. Quarter of a teaspoon. Quarter of a teaspoon. And then whisk until light and fluffy or forming peaks. Soft peaks. There you go. So hopefully the noise cancellation's on. Yeah, okay. Not sure if you see the peaks because of the light, but they're forming peaks. Yeah, perfect. You can see them. I would say if you haven't got a hand whisk, don't bother with this recipe because to get that on a hand whisk on a manual, no chance. All right, so set aside. We now got to beat the yolks with some sweetener. So that'd be that one. So a powdered sweetener. All I've done is blitz some sweetener in the bullet just to sort of make it finer. Yeah, it's 99% powdered. Yeah, because everything is going to go in here now. So the white go in last, if you remember rightly. Powdered sweetener. So this is 60 grams, if I remember rightly. I have got a little tickle in the back of my throat. Where's my electrolytes? have written this recipe up because there were some adaptations to make from the first version. What I'll do later on is I'll be able to give you what I'm doing now. You know, you got that tickle right at the back of your throat. Okay. Oh, that's enough. Egg yolks, sweetener. Add the melted butter. I've done this before we started. So I've got half a cup, honestly, 115 grams of melted butter. We're going to add in vanilla and the mixed spice. Did I add? I added the pumpkin in first because of our flour. Though I don't need to now. Thinking about it. No, it works. I didn't need. I've got the right volume of Panda. It was 35 grams. The one thing that I need to do is rehydrate the pumpkin.
With?
Or what do you hydrate things with? Right. So again, 2 cups of So this was the 2 cups of milk. Right. Okay. So this is where I used 100 grams of cream with 500 grams of water. Because they used the milk. Where's the? Oh yeah, and the other one was from the puree, the pumpkin puree. Yeah, so no, there was a bit of both there. So I know, I remember the variants now. So we went a 1-to-1, whereas so I'll show you what I'm going to do with the pumpkin first. Whereas, yeah, again, I need another bowl. This will be fine because it's all going to go into one. When I did it last time, I used a 1-to-1 ratio with this. Don't need to do that. So I used 100 grams of pumpkin and 100 grams of water. And it made a very thick puree. Don't need that. 50 grams of powder, 150 grams of water. Wow, neighbours are actually cutting along. It's to get rid of the winter weeds. Okay, that's fine. So when I made it a couple of weeks ago, it was very, very thick. Look at that. That's more like tin pumpkin. So that's the puree you will get from the tin. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. Okay. So obviously pumpkin powder is quite high in carb, but obviously we've just used 50 grams of it with water. Yeah, that's right consistency. Mm-hmm. Yep. Pumpkin. So then the rest of that liquid, 500, 350. Why was I using 500? Trying to think now. So it's 2 cups of milk warm. That's what I need to kind of do on here.
Are you making your own milk?
Yeah, I'm making my own milk. So no, I've got 100 grams of cream in the recipe. It really should then be 400 grams. Oh, that's where the other 50 gone. Right, I get it now. That was the last time round. I used only 100 grams of water. to the 100 grams of thingy. Yeah, okay, I understand it now. Yeah, so that's 100 grams of cream, 400 grams of water going into there. Sorry, 300 grams, 400, up to 400, 300 grams of water. Honestly. Right, I'm going to change that in my recipe now, because otherwise
So it
I'm
might
going
actually
to
be more
forget.
custody.
Yeah. So we're warming this through. Let me just change that in my notes. So in total, 150 and 300 is 450, not 500. That's what I was concerned about then. There was going to be too much water going in. So making this up to 4. So yeah, it feels like there's a lot of liquid going into this. However, again, it works. Right, so it's going to warm that through, because this is going to get mixed in with the egg and everything else, and then we're going to fold in the egg whites. So I can carry on with this. We've got the egg yolks. Add the pumpkin. No, butter and sweetener first. Butter and sweetener first. Nice. Check which time. So, as with the pumpkin spiced cake mix, whatever else we've made, we're just using mixed spice. They've got a list of spices. They're all in here. Cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger. So they're all in here. Just using 10 grams of mixed spice. Yeah, 10 grams. It's a powerful mixed spice. Again, you might choose to add a little bit more or a little bit less, but it gave it that nice autumny flavour, didn't it? Yeah, I'm going to put the panda into this now, and then the milk's going to go in on top. Yeah, and it's just warm as well. I don't want it. What was the one we were making some weeks ago? We had to sort of get it to scalding point.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I can't remember what it was. Yeah, it's not this one. No, it's not this one. It's not this one. So that's just coming to a warm temperature. What was it, Sandra? I'm sure Sandra's
It
watching.
was definitely whilst we were doing it.
I was doing it in the members, and we had to get something to scalding point, but not boiling. Pumpkin in, and then we're going to be adding some of the milk. So it says, I think. Right. Yeah. So they make theirs in a bread and butter pudding. Thank you.
Oh, that was it, yeah.
They make theirs in a stand mixer. Clearly, they're using a mixer. So you can see this now has just turned into a golden colour. That combination of the bright orange. So it's quite a thick paste at the moment. It's going to turn very. Was it 60? Something like that, Kathy. Yeah, something like that. So essentially, we're going to whisk this into there gradually. Yeah. So that's all they're doing with a stand mixer is a little bit at a time. Whisk it in. Do you shop at this butcher's now then? What? Treyway. I said they were at the show with us last week. So I just picked up some steaks and they had the beef back. So do I? Well, I do now, yes, because I've ordered from them a supply of steaks and minced beef for all of us for this month. So if you look at their website, you'll find that they've got obviously a great selection of meats to choose from. They not everything's in stock all the time because it depends on which animals are going to slaughter. So and they are nose to tail, absolutely everything. You have to have your order placed by 6 o'clock on a Tuesday, and then it's prepared and sent out to you on a Wednesday, and you get delivery Thursday. You will find that this is what I mean. This one looks really watery, really, really bad. Got to add the flour in this yet? Or the Panda flour is going to go in here now. You'll see that their delivery is something like about £11 for delivery, which is because they're using the quickest service on DPD. However, if you return the packaging, because they use sheep's wool packaging, which is the best for sending stuff out in, you get a £10 voucher to use on your next orders. So I fully understand their system, because that sheep's wool is not your generic pick up anywhere style packaging. It's very expensive, it's very unique, and it can be reused so many times. So if you do order from them, then send it back and they give you a voucher to use. Right, so the Panda has obviously started the thickening process.
How much did you put in?
35 grams. Yeah, 35 grams. Again, this was a complete guess last time round. We had no idea whether it was going to set or not. So it has gone thicker at this point. Now all we're going to do is fold in the egg whites. Right. That tastes great already. That tastes great. The bread and butter pudding turned out really, really well. I will do it again, I think. Did I say next weekend?
Is it today?
No, I didn't say today. I definitely didn't say today.
You said
Next Sunday. There's a couple of things we're going to do next Sunday. However, what I'm going to do now is fold in the egg whites. So yeah, next Sunday we'll do the bread and butter pudding. I will need to have a loaf made for it in advance, but I'll make a loaf on the live. We did. Was it a pumpkin spice one, or was it a mixed spice one?
it was the winter spice.
It was the winter spice one, right? So we'll make a winter spice. No, not got a day one workshop. That's now the third. The next workshops are the 3rd of November for day one. There are still some tickets available. The 17th of November for a Christmas one. There are some tickets available, but not many. And then we've got day 2 for the day one guys that came last month on the 24th, right at the end of the month. So yeah, next Sunday I'll do the winter spice loaf. We'll turn one of them into a bread and butter pudding.
It was a less liquid one that you did.
Yeah. We're going to do, and the day one guys saw this when we had our session. I'm going to show you the egg pasta. If anyone saw the post from last night, the ravioli, I'm going to show you something that we've learned on how to cook it and how to get the best out of it. So we're going to do pumpkin pasta next week. And what did we say also? So there was pasta. There was something else we said earlier on that we're going to make next week. So we'll stick it on next. We're going to do the lamb ragu.
Was it sweet or savoury?
It was savoury. can't remember. What's in the Xmas one? I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve, Martin. I showed. There was a sneak peek to a very, 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 very small crowd this morning that came to PT. There was a sneak peek. It might involve marzipan and a bread like
Was it put pie?
no. So I'm just being careful to not knock all of the air out of the egg that we whipped. That's the purpose of being gentle here. Alan, you watching? I couldn't confirm nor deny that, Martin. However, there's half of it still sitting in the fridge. Just making sure we've got no bits of just egg. Right, okay. So it is, it almost looks like it's partially fermented. That's the way, because when you fold in the egg, it looks like it's sort of started to bubble up. I mean, it's a natural process. But yeah, that's done. Okay, half an hour. This took quite a while to bake, didn't it? Yeah, this is an hour bake. So you're not seeing this today anyway. And it is best left. So bake it, let it cool on the side, stick it in the fridge, come back to it tomorrow. So this is something you do in advance, yeah? This is not, I want a cake, I want a pumpkin. So you can see it's still quite loose. It's like a loose batter. There's no raising agents in this, so there's no baking powder. I suppose cream of tartar is a sort of raising agent, but it's meant to be dense. It will fluff up a little bit like a cake, and it will, when it comes out, appear a bit too solid for a custard. Trust me, it's perfect. All right, so um, $325. I think we decided that was about 170, didn't we?
I'm still trying to think what it was. These eggs make. What did we have for dinner last night? Oh yeah, what was the one before?
Okay, I've stuck that on for 55 minutes at 170. Okay, I'm pretty sure that'll be done. You can see it's quite a liquidy batter, so it will take a little while. But again, it's meant to be. Yes, it's a 9 by 9. That's a 9 by 9. Right, let me have a think. I'll tell you what. Everyone go make a cup of tea. All right, I can put the kettle on. We've got 25 minutes. Oh, coffee. Apparently, I'm not making tea. I'm making coffee. We've got 25 minutes before the steam puddings are coming out. Coco wants to go outside, and we can think about something else to make. Go make a brew. Go on then.
I think I remember.
What is it? Oh yes, yes, of course. Right. How can we forget? Get your tea, get your coffee first, then we'll talk. We've just found out, remembered what next week is. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Can we think of something quick to make? What have I made recently that's beating? Oh, actually, no. I need to make more pastry to make a pie. Oh, that's fine. Yeah. No, I need. Well, you said. Well, you said you were going to have steak kidney pudding, and I said I was going to have steak kidney pie. Whose have I not made? Mine. The thing is, I can get it in the oven while that's there, so that's going to be long enough. A little bit. All right, coffee's on. So whilst we wait for those to finish off, I'm going to do one more batch of pastry, just purely because I want pie. I suppose it's a good test. I want to see whether it bakes. So we'll get everything back out again. Left head on that. Right, yeah. So next week, pumpkin egg pasta, which will be turned into. We'll do a little bit of ravioli, but we're also going to do. We'll do our lamb ragu. So the cannelloni. So that's one of our favourites.
That would work with cannelloni.
No, you don't use those. You're not dehydrating it. So we're making it with fresh egg pasta, rather than sort of like straightforward normal pasta. It'll be pumpkin pasta with the lamb ragu. So that'll be dinner. We'll do the ravioli to show you how to make the ravioli. That's nice and straightforward. But something that we had a little play with a couple of days ago and worked really, really well was gnocchi. So I've never really had gnocchi pre-keto, never mind sort of following this lifestyle. You coming back in? Hey, you're right. Come on, you barrel. Yeah, so we were playing around with the recipe and it worked. And it was really good. So we'll practice during the week. That needs to go on the meal plan. Can it go somewhere? Not really. I mean,
Change Wednesday.
burgers and gnocchi.
Yeah, we'll change Wednesday.
No, okay. We'll do something. But yeah, so it worked really, really well. So I'll find a recipe for gnocchi then, and we'll might change that.
I was thinking creamy Tuscan gnocchi with salmon stick.
Okay, so there you go. There's creamy Tuscan. Hang on, creamy what?
Gnocchi with salmon stick.
Okay, creamy Tuscan spinach gnocchi. Okay. Right, let's do this quick. Do a half it. I might as well halve this one because I'm not making a huge amount. So I'm going to go 50 grams of the fat. The rest of this I can put in the freezer now. I've got loads out of this. Absolutely loads. So we're making one more batch of pastry, Jack, so I can make my steak and kidney pie, because I forgot I'm making a pie as well. I know. Until we've been busy in the kitchen today. But we're also trying to remember what we were making for next week, which is, we've now remembered, the egg pasta. I'm going to show everybody how we cooked it at the workshop. But there's a slight extension to that as well. So we'll make egg pasta. We're going to make gnocchi, and we're going to make, what was it? Kathy, are you making notes? What? Just remind me later what I've said. Egg pasta, gnocchi. What was the dessert? Oh, bread and butter pudding. Right. Okay. Jeez.
Oh.
Bread and butter pudding. Hopefully I've made that quite fine, because I do want to roll this out like a normal pastry. Yeah, that's. Don't seem to need to worry too much about the over blitzing with this fat. It just doesn't seem to heat up. It even takes an age to try and render down. You have to stick it on heat. Right. Coffee is ordered. Yeah. Great. Cool. Okay. She's found the pigs here. Oh, you give it to her?
Right, it was really right.
All right, okay.
Well, I think I think it is.
He wasn't interested in it, so he just
No, but I think it's new.
Right, and then the water. Something like, this is half a batch, so something like 90 should bring it together. Obviously, I'm still going to have to let this rest for a few minutes.
Yeah, no. That's not-
All right, we're only 10 minutes away from the steamed puddings coming out as well. So the whelping box that I've made for cocoa the big idiot lying in it. He's got pillows in there. He's loving it. He's got his head on a pillow, blankets. She just doesn't seem to be as fussed by it as him. Okay. It's always a little bit more difficult trying to do just such a small amount of pastry. There's just not enough dough there to knead it properly, but it's there. It's sort of there. I just need to let it rest for a minute. Okay. Let that rest. Right, I think we're just check the water. It's fine as long as it's a fairly decent lid. Then it should trap in enough moisture to keep it going. You want to go outside again? Oh, ice cream man's here. Would you believe that? Ice cream man. I suppose it's 10 degrees and cloudy, apparently. Is Sainsbury's 4:30 or 4 o'clock?
What day is it? Sunday.
Monday. I don't know whether it's a 10:30, 4:30 or a 10:4.
Is it because you want more cream?
We haven't got cream for the morning.
What is that actually?
I know.
We have cream powder.
We have what, sorry?
Cream
We have cream powder.
powder. What could you be hydrated?
5 degrees. Oh yeah.
5. Oh, yeah.
Carol.
Oh, yeah. Wow, can I open a moment? You could buy it.
Are you in your period of darkness from like September through to March? Right, I'm not going to be making anything from scratch now. We're just going to finish off the pies. Let's think. What else we got to talk about? Stone. Wow. Okay.
Anything about the masterclass?
Anything about the masterclass? We've got a couple. No, I've said about the dates.
I went online.
Oh, not a chance to do anything with that while we're doing the show. It's still on its way. Yeah, just not a chance to sort of do anything with that. We've got some videos to edit. Do some more filming this week. Everything's a bit more back to normal. Has felt like a bit of a weird week coming out of such a busy weekend, such a busy show or shows. Yeah, it's felt a bit disjointed this week. Is probably the best way of explaining it. Yeah, I mean, this thing doesn't move. The custard cake lifts a little bit, but it's probably like 10% rise. That's about it. And you'll lose all of that once it's baked. Once it goes cold, it will go back to its original depth. I don't feel like we're in too much of a mess today. It's okay. It's just one dishwasher load, and
just use the same bowl.
yeah. Go on, we'll give this a go. It'll be a little trickier than normal, but
What's he having in the back line?
sorry,
What's he having in the back line?
staying in it. Yeah, staying in it. So I brought one of the little foils. These are sort of like, single portion pies, really. a big portion. I get it. It's a big portion, but they're not very deep. They're only, I think, 5-inch. Not even that. Probably 5 at the most, maybe 4. I'm going to keep it all together to start with. Just make it a little bit easier on me to actually roll it out. And then we'll take some off of the lid. Yes, this is what it was doing on Thursday. So even with that extra bit of water, it's still a little bit fragile. Trying to do it too quickly. I'll work it out slowly. What's that? Yes, so you can use the supermarket versions of the dripping or lard. You just won't use as much water, so you pretty much stick to the original measurements. So 100 grams of fat, 50 grams of flour, and then around about 75 grams of water. I presume just because this fat is dry, it's not the same as a dripping. It's just not the same style of fat. So it just takes an awful lot more water. But yeah, just follow the same normal recipe. Okay, and it just likes to try and break up. If it's not been allowed to sort of rest for a little while, it just tries to break up around the edges when you're rolling it. Rolling it does help, actually. I mean, even if I sort of like pulled this all back in together, it would roll out better second time round. Yeah, I mean, I repair it. I mean, I just want to get it big enough that I can get a circle out, and then the rest can be for the lid. Yeah, and I'm having a lid. I'm having a lid. That's the bit you definitely want to see. You want to see the lid. Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'll use a little plate, didn't I, to cut it?
That's a good size, actually.
Yeah, and it's probably easily enough for this. I suppose actually one thing that we found last week when we went to the show, so predominantly more for the freeform show, which is the Saturday, which is purely aimed at people that are following a gluten-free or dairy-free lifestyle, generally for allergy issues. We made pastry for that day specifically to show that it can be made from coconut oil, and it worked really, really well. We made sausage rolls, we made apple pies, and it worked really, really well. So if you're never sure what to use, that was a particularly good fat. It sort of responded really well. Right, that'll do. Is what I'll be able to do here. It's got a couple of little tears in it, but I'll be able to repair those once they're in, and I've still got extra.
So you blind bake.
I will blind bake this, yeah.
I did the tarts.
Yeah. So I'm taking it so it goes over the edge. It will shrink back just a little bit. But that's fine. Ah, here you go. So this is the difference with this fat. Here's a little bit of sinew, which is basically coming from the protein. So you don't get this in any other fat. All right, there you go. So it just looks a little bit weird when you're handling it.
Just goes to show the quality of the fat.
Well, it's just obviously it's been trimmed, so the fat hasn't been treated at all. So it's not been melted and reformed. It's just been trimmed off the organs and packed, and that's it. Okay, there we go. So the tiny little sections that didn't stick together. Again, we've said it before, say it again, need to try pastry with ghost butter. Yeah, I know. So I've just patched up a tiny little section that was split. That's perfectly good. I'm going to put this on shelf number 3. Is it 3? Shelf number 1. All right, so bottom one there. I can smell the pumpkin and the mixed spice in there as well now. So that's beautiful. Right, okay. I'll roll this out. We'll get the we'll get a pudding out. We'll see how they're cooked. Thank you for sticking with me for 2 hours while I roll pastry and drink coffee. Let's say we may be moving the live down to the kitchen in the near future. I just get the feeling it might be chaos here for a few weeks. So even on that second roll, just the trimmings, they're responding much better. I could have just screwed the whole lot up and tried again, but yeah, it's holding together much more as you would expect. Yeah, and that's it. Done. Okay, so after me saying to Sue that they don't rise, they've risen a little bit. Only a little bit, though. Don't get too excited. Seems to have gained weight. Now then, we didn't have any problems getting out of the plastic one, did we, at all? Because obviously there's a lot of fat in there already. I know I didn't grease the tin. And that feels like it's just going to fall out anyway. I just need to get into the edge. I'll let it rest for a second. It's a bit hot. There we go. Yeah, I can see it coming out. Yep. No. So there you go. So as it's expanded a little bit, it's just pressed itself into the mold a bit more. Yeah. We'll take better pictures of it, but let's get a fork, shall we? It's firm. It's firm. Oh hell yes. Oh hell yes. 2 pieces of kidney. It's just too much luxury, that is. Let's get a piece of steak out of there. It's bloody lovely, Kathy. It's really good. I don't know whether longer steaming would help or hinder the pastry. I honestly don't know. I mean, the only way of finding out is to do it. It's certainly started to. You can see where it's drying around the edge here. So it's firm and very stable. It's drying. So I don't know whether it goes another half hour and it becomes even more structurally sound. I'm surprised as to how mild the pastry is, as in fat-wise. It doesn't, considering that the pastry is 1/3 pure fat, it doesn't taste heavy. It has got no overpowering flavor, but it's beautiful. It really is. It's beautiful. So that's perfect. Let's get one of the. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave the other pudding in there and cook for a little bit longer. We're going to be here for another 20 minutes anyway, aren't we? Before we go for a walk. So I'd tidy up. So I'm going to leave that in. So essentially, the other one's going to have an hour and a half just to see whether there's any difference. And then this one is the bacon and leek pudding. Let's get another little plate. What are you laughing at? And that just pops out. And again, I mean, the smell from this is amazing. It really is. It's stunning. And it's light and fluffy. So it's, it's a suet pudding, so a steamed pudding. But that's, again, it's not stodgy. This is really good. This is really, really good. If you're not confident about making a whole pudding, filled pudding, then that is brilliant. Yeah, that's fantastic. It's the best bits of a steamed pudding because it's got bacon and leek, and it's a bit of a mix between a stuffing and a pudding. Hi, Elaine. Don't worry, it's there for forever. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. So it's a bacon and leek steamed pudding. I think it probably has another name, doesn't it? But I can't remember. Okay. I'll give that a couple more minutes, then I'll fill it, then we'll bugger off. So yeah, again, I'll leave the other version of this in the steamer until the other one comes out. If you don't have that fat, Okay, right. So suet is essentially suet fat. So you can make a very, very similar pastry. It's just not authentic suet. This is authentic suet because it's using the authentic suet fat. You can use lard, dripping, any of those will give you a very, very similar fat. You just don't use as much water. So it's very, you would basically follow the standard pastry recipe. Twice as much fat as there is flour. So the recipe is 50 grams of flour, 100 grams of fat. If you're going to use for a suet, I would tend to use lard. However, you can taste the lard. You can't taste the beef fat. So I know others have made the same pastry used with dripping, shop bought dripping. I don't think that's got a strong smell. Obviously, lard does. When you first cook with lard, it has quite a strong smell to it. And you can certainly taste it. You definitely taste it when you make things like sausage rolls. So you can use any fat to make the steamed puddings. Just depends on the flavour. I say that there is probably the best version because you haven't got an overriding flavour from the pastry. So yeah, just shop bought dripping. Always worth asking at a butcher's if they've got any hard beef fat. You never know. They might not be able to use it. Okay, so it's drying out a little bit. I'm happy with that. I'll use that. Yeah, I'll use that. So obviously the pudding has got a little bit more moisture in there, naturally because obviously it's been steamed. Where I've cooked the meat off and then thickened it, obviously the extra liquid seeped into the pudding. I'm trying to pack as much of the. Can't quite get all of that in. I'll have that afterwards. So it is 3 big portions that I've made today. Those will feed 1 and a bit. And I've made 2 of those, and that's a 1 and a bit. Or you might just have this as your only thing.
I'll have that.
Yeah. Oh, so I'll show you something that I wonder if I can trim that down. I can use the little one. Is that one wrong? Sort of. Just tidy that edge up just a fraction. Just so I can show you with the pie. With the lid. So it's too big for the pie case. So we're just going to fold it. And you're sort of folding the edge in on itself, and you get that nice crust. So we're sort of pleating it as we go around the pie. And don't worry, the lid will comfortably stick to the base, and it's not going to fly off the meat either. So if you just go around, piece of meat poking out, you get in. Now, you could egg wash that. I'm not going to, because I want to see what happens to that pastry when it's not touched. So I just want to know how crispy it goes naturally. I want to see what color it goes, because obviously you can see how the difference in the color there. It has gone darker. That's been seen. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when it's just baked without anything. You want a darker, more golden top, then you probably will egg wash it. But there you go. There's a nice little steak and kidney pie.
You put the best of them on it.
I haven't put the better pen on it now. All right, so we're going to go now, but the custard cake has come to the top of the tin, so it's now completely level with the tin. It's still got 20 minutes to go. I don't think I can fill 20 minutes of dead air.
How many mug cakes?
No, we're not doing mug cakes. We're not doing that. Right, so what are the macros and the bacon and leek? I will be shoving out the recipes with the macros later on. They're going to be very, 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 very low carb-wise, because the only carb that's gone in there is 50 grams of Panda, which is 4.5 grams of carbs, and divide that by 2. So leek, 3 grams. So you're looking at, per one of these, off the top of my head, about 4 grams of carbs. That's it. But I'll do the recipes. We'll do some macros on them, and I'll shove them out later on, so you can have a little go.
So it's the perfect keto.
So it is the perfect keto pastry. I mean, Panda pastry is the perfect keto pastry. In fact, I'll tell you a conversation I had last week. Somebody said to us, this was at the keto show, "Oh, Fathead pastry is the best pastry in the world." I said, "You've clearly not tasted Panda pastry." Bearing in mind that all of the pastries have been out for 2 days, and we said you can't eat them; they're not safe to eat. But he wouldn't have it that the Panda pastry was like, Fathead's okay. Fathead's an okay start. I said, but it's not pastry; it's melted cheese.
Made them feel.
Yeah. Feel my pastry. And on that, we're going to go, just in case. I'll see you during the week, at the end of the week, or hopefully at some point in person. See you soon. Bye-bye.